All right, Chelsea fans, welcome back to another episode. That's right, of the London is Definitely Blue podcast. Dan, one of your hosts here alongside Nick and Nath. And look, we are all buzzing after Chelsea not just beat, destroyed, dismantled, ended careers at the London Olympic Stadium against West Ham. 5-1 victory for your beloved Blues and the champions of the goddamn world. It was a good Friday, wasn't it, Nick?
Yeah, I mean, this was exactly the sort of get right game that you hoped to have, especially after last week. Some goals, which was nice to see, and some really impressive performances from some of our young cohort that we're definitely going to talk about today.
And look, people might say we planned to have Nath on after João Pedro and Estêvão had the game going. No. We planned this beforehand. So either we knew they were going to pop off or we just happened to have a wonderful coincidence. But I don't think this is going to be the last time we see types of performances from these two players this season after what we saw today.
No, of course not. They're just getting started. I mean, Chelsea's just getting started. And because of that, they are only getting started. I feel like we're seeing much more of them playing at the level they did today. Throughout the season, and especially in the Champions League, I'm kind of excited to see how they go there.
It will be a ton of fun. And this one, we'll talk about like the general like dismantling and I think, really unfortunate times for Graham Potter at West Ham and the fact that you think the 54th minute they showed the video of the stands and basically people were already mass exiting from it, which is absolutely delightful to watch.
34th minute, dude.
Yeah.
They were ready to leave today.
Yeah, I don't think they're giving them a lot of reasons to stay. We'll also again talk about Estêvão and João Pedro. I think they deserve a lot of time from us today. And then look, things are still happening in the transfer window. We'll try to touch on a couple of those things before we get you another Matt Law pod next week. But just as always, a couple 3-word match reviews to get us started. Nick, you went with a pretty simple one here.
Ole, ole, ole. They started doing the olays, I think, in the 42nd minute today, which if you're a home team and you're getting olayed in the 42nd minute, that is that's a tough beat. That's not where you want to be generally living as a team. And so I think the away end had themselves a day, as we'd like to say.
It did. They did look up for it. Nath, what did you do for your 3-word match review?
Yeah, I'm going to keep with this Brazilian thing that I got going on today for some reason. So I'm going to just say Chelsea's Brazil.
Ooh, I think we like that. We also saw before the game, there was that Reece James interview came out, talked about the player who potentially had the most impact on him, and dropped the Thiago Silva name there. No surprise.
Yeah, and Komari was at Stamford Bridge for the opening match as well. So Chelsea's Brazil.
I thought you were going to go caipirinhas for everyone. That
of course.
It's Friday night. We're recording this on a Friday night. I mean, we got to bring out the caipirinhas.
Yeah.
We did have a couple wonderful ones from our Discord community. KY Leg with the back in black ? I will get a Nick Verlaney kit ranking here at some point in the pod. It was requested by the listeners. Childish Gabino with the boys took everything. Nice little spin on the classic there. Very, very good. J-Dubs with the 5-goal slap. And they brought out the Rick James Chappelle with what did the 5 fingers say to the face moment there. And then Kate Priceless with the Pedro for president, which was another good one there. I think this is the way I view this match. Sack Potter twice. Chelsea have found a way to fire one manager 2 times. And the second time, he wasn't even at your club. So that's just a real impressive performance from our Blues.
You just know when the schedule was released and we were number 2 on the list, he was probably like, God damn it. Like, not even going to have a second to breathe here, like.
He was wondering if he could get by and get sacked before he had to play Chelsea, right? That all West Ham fans were like, man, if we fire him beforehand, maybe we'll get the new manager bounce and that will restore a little bit of this order. No, it couldn't happen for him. But look, I want to get into the starting 11 because I think that was probably the thing that was a little interesting for people when they saw, oh, wait, Liam Delap and João Pedro are going to both be starting for a Chelsea team, 2 strikers. Oh, we only talked about this how many times in some theory sessions over the summer? And then it was Pedro Neto and Esteva also kind of up top in the attack as well. You had Moises Caicedo and Enzo Fernandez in your midfield. Then you had Malo Gusto, Trev Chalba, Tosin coming back from his unavailable status over the weekend, and then Mark Cucurella with Rob Sanchez between the sticks. I think the one thing that did shift, obviously Cole Palmer was a part of that starting 11 initially. Enzo Maresca comes back out and says it's related to a groin situation. Apparently the last 4 to 5 days, not 100%, felt something. So they decided to not risk it, not get worse. I think that is the 100% right call. And when you have someone like Estêvão who just wants to find a way to get in the team and to take his shot and take his shot extremely well, you are a general beneficiary of that. But let's talk maybe more so, Nath, about the two strikers in attack in Delap and João Pedro, more from like the fundamental sense of it, like getting to see them play together. How much did you like that today? Or, what did you see about what that did for this team?
Yeah, so I was super excited to see how it would work, and I think it worked perfectly with Delap pinning strikers and João Pedro giving that dynamic to midfield and attack super well. And I wonder how this would have worked with Palmer, and I want to see that in the future. But the thing is, it worked so well with Estêvão there. And yeah, I'm just super excited to see how this goes because we have so many intelligent players who give a lot of different dynamics to this team. So the possibilities we have, even if other players leave or if some players get reintegrated, are very, very exciting and very promising. Given the season is probably going to be long, let's hope so.
And
That's the
then
expectation.
Nick, and just maybe, we don't have a spot carved out here for Liam Delap, but obviously he had to lead the line, had to draw a lot of players out of position to create space for others. And so I think, you look at like the SOFA score rating, which again is not the greatest way to tell if a player had a good day or didn't have a good day, but at 6.8, it feels a little rough because I felt like he was doing a real nice job kind of giving space to other players with how he was making sure, whether it was Kilman or others, just really putting them in situations where they had to commit to him, creating space for others.
Yeah, I mean, look, I don't think it was his best ever day in a Chelsea shirt. Let's just be real about it. But I do think that there's some important off the ball work that was happening. And he was critical in the move that freed up Estevao to take the ball and cross it over to Enzo Fernandez for the goal. And so it's kind of feast or famine up there. I think as a lone striker going against one or two or even three center backs, like you kind of just have to be in the right place at the right time and understand where your teammates are going to be. And I'm not sure that they drilled this during the week, having João Pedro right behind him. I thought it was going to function with Cole Palmer in the lineup as like a 4-2-2-2, like we played against Benfica and Palmeiras in the Club World Cup, and it did function as a more traditional 4-2-3-1, or even a 3-1-4-2 at times. Like it really like once Enzo Fernandez decided he was going to move all the way up in attacking play and Caicedo was going to drop back, it was a whole different kind of shift. And so Liam Delap is going to require time to get into a full flow. I don't think he's necessarily as fluid as some of the other attackers in the way that he moves and creates space, but I do think that there is a bully element to him that is really, really nice to have in this team, and something that we've lacked for quite a long time, probably since Diego Costa was here, that I personally find aesthetically pleasing as a person who enjoys a little bit more physical football. And so I don't think it was a bad performance. I don't think it was a great performance. I think it was somewhere in the middle. And he will figure out, too, with all the different combinations behind him and from the wing player, the number 10, what the preferences of those players are when it comes to moving the ball. João Pedro is going to function much differently than Cole Palmer would in that position, function much differently than, Cole Palmer being out wide and Estêvão moving into the 10, or another combination that we haven't figured out yet. So I just give him a little bit of time. I know we're all looking at these new signings. We're all excited about various different signings for different reasons. He's going to be fine. Just give him a little bit of time to work into it.
And we're going to take a real quick ad break. Go.
I just wanted to say that Delap was like key to our set piece goals. So there's that as well. That's not going to show in the stats, but his blocks that weren't fouls made the difference. So there's that as well.
Critical dimension, they were not fouls.
They were not fouls.
That is actually a key thing, because we did look at in the scouting pods that we've done about him, like he is a bit of a card magnet.
Yeah.
And so I would rather that he be Magneto with center backs and not with the yellow card situation from poor officials in the Premier League. Like, let's just do the former, not the latter. Thank you very much. But look, we're going to take a real quick ad break. When we get back, we'll talk a little bit about the substitution, some crazy stats from the games, and then start talking about JWoww, Pedro, and then Estêvão. So stay tuned. We are back. Look, when you get all your goals in within 60 minutes, you get an opportunity to go to the bench. You get an opportunity to bring on tons of other players. We saw Andre Santos come in for Liam Delap. We saw Wes Fofana get minutes, which is really nice to see for Trev Chalobah. Joel Hatto gets his opportunity to run out for Marc Cucurella, which I know, Nick, is going to make you very happy that Marc Cucurella is not playing 90 minutes every single game and at the top of our total minutes for the season. Reece James gets an opportunity to relieve Malo Gusto, and then Jamie Gittins comes in for Estêvão. I just think, though, that the stats are probably the most interesting thing here. And I think you're going to love this one, Nick. I think you're going to love the fact that Chelsea had 7 big chances on a 2.93 expected goals. And Chelsea score 5 of the 7 big chances off of a total 12 shots. That's a real good day at the office for this team.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely what we asked for when you compared this to the Crystal Palace stat pack that we went through not that long ago. This was, look, West Ham are terrible, and they're going to get beaten a lot this year if they don't figure something out. But we were also ruthless on the day. Like, we took our chances. We understood where their weak points were. We attacked those weak points. It could have been 6, 7, 8 goals if we had really applied ourselves in the second half, which we really kind of didn't. Once it was 5-1, it almost seemed like the team just kind of collectively like sat back and didn't want to punish them extra. But yeah, this was a phenomenal shot conversion day. I mean, I was on with Matt midweek. Matt points out something that we pointed out in our season preview, which is that Chelsea need to get into the 80s for goals scored this year. And the only way we're going to get into the 80s for goals scored is if our shot conversion and our chance creation goes up together. And this was a day in which, like, you feel really good. Now, not every day is going to be like this, but we're also creating chances in different ways than I think we were last year. The set pieces are one thing. We'll talk about those in a little bit. That is a really useful thing that really hasn't been a part of our arsenal in a long time. We haven't really been a set piece team for some time, even though we used to dominate at those back in the day. That's super helpful when you get a couple of cheap goals off of set pieces that you weren't expecting.
Cheap? I feel like they're really not that cheap. They're real.
One of them
really well
cheap.
Worked.
One of them wasn't cheap, but the other two were a little cheap, and that's okay. Like, we also have complained when we haven't put away the cheap chances. I want them all. I want every goal to go into the back of the net. So I'm really pleased about this, but I think the flow of play, it was like after the Pedro Neto goal, which was a very well-worked goal, extremely well-worked. High win back up the field. Trev Chalobah wins it back. João Pedro crosses it over. Pedro Neto with an excellent finish, flying left foot finish. It was like the team remembered how to play football again after that. Like, they snapped back in and they were really ready to go. And so more of that, because that looked a lot more like what we saw over the summer than what we saw against Palace.
Oh, just do it 15 more times and you'll have your 80 goals. So not a problem here. Just design this. Can we play West Ham every week as the chance might go occasionally? One random stat was just Estêvão at 18 is the youngest player in the Premier League history to assist a goal for Chelsea at 18 years and 120 days. So hats off to him. And look, when there's 5 goals, you probably have a favorite. So of the 5 goals, Nath, which one was your favorite on the day?
Yeah, I'm going to say that's hard because I have Pedro Neto's goal, just because the whole play was very, very well worked, as Nick said. But I also loved the Enzo goal because of the Estêvão assist. His angle wasn't the best, and he kind of assisted with his weaker foot. So there's that as well. But I'm going to go with Pedro Neto just because of how the play was built and the lab's participation, Estêvão as well, and João Pedro. As I said, I'm very Brazilian, two Brazilians working together and assisting a Portuguese. So yeah, that was nice.
Nick, do you have a favorite?
I'm with you on that one. Although I will just give the Trev Chalaba goal.
Yeah.
I love Trev. Everyone knows that. I'm getting Trev on my shirt this year.
Really?
I do. I've been standing for him for a long time, and I feel quite gratified at the moment because he went full beast mode on his kind of scrappy finish at the end. But last year, I don't think we would have had the right players in the right positions to do the scramble drill like they did a couple of times today. And that really does matter. Like, yes, it may be kind of a cheap goal, but he's in the exact right position to deal with a great header down from João Pedro on a scramble drill. Just something that popped up. The goalkeeper doesn't do the right thing, and you have a chance to head the ball across to your teammate. And Trev just made no bones about it. And the flex at the end gave him the flex too. The
flex was good.
That's photo of the season stuff right there. So we're feeling pretty good about both of those. Yeah.
I just think for the lulz that it was the Caicedo goal. Come on.
It's a great finish.
No, it was a great
phenomenal
finish. Yeah.
Phenomenal finish with absolute calamity for West Ham, which I think just sums up
super
what
lost.
their season's gonna look like.
Yeah.
Well, let's shift to saying very, very nice things about a couple of Brazilians other than Nath. And we'll start with who I think was the actual man of the match. He did not win the official man of the match award. It was Estêvão who got the honors there. João Pedro's stat line. I'll just read it off, and then I'll let Nath go on a tangent or rant here or an opportunity to boost him up. 90 minutes played, 1 goal on a 0.41 XG, 2 assists on the day. He had expected 0.11 expected assists, 38 touches, 84% pass accuracy, 2 key passes, 1 out of 1 cross accurate, 2 big chances created, 1 shot on target, 2 off target, and then 1 out of 2 dribbles. That heat map put him directly behind the box and then also right in the 6-yard box. Like, he knew exactly where he needed to be today, and I think showed with his head in this game that he can be a force in the air and be absolutely disruptive to what a defense is trying to do on a set piece.
Yeah. It felt like he was everywhere today for some reason. He wasn't just that 10. He wasn't that striker. He was everywhere. And I feel like his dynamics with Enzo in the build-up and how to support better the build-up kind of changed our game. Because after that goal that was disallowed, anything could have gone anywhere. The game could have gone anywhere. If that goal was allowed, I don't know where the game would have gone to. I honestly don't know. I was trying to figure it out. Imagine. Because that was a very well-worked offside trap, just off topic a little bit. It was a very well-worked offside trap, but Cucurella was a bit ahead of the others in the line. But anyways, after that, we kind of shifted our mentality and got into the game. And a part of that, as I said, it was how João Pedro and Enzo Fernandez kind of helped support the build-up and change the dynamics. The team was much better. The midfield was working much better. Estêvão got in the game as a result of this. So, yeah, I mean, João Pedro is going to be... Yeah, I may be going ahead of myself here, but I feel like he's got this big chance, like 50% chance at the moment of being our player for the season just because, I'm serious now. Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love the take.
Just because of what he's doing,
Yeah, when you end up with a goal and an assist in 2 assists rather than this game, that's like 3 total right there. And then I think it was effectively 18.5% of his league contribution in the entirety of his season last year in 1 game. If this is what we can get from him this season, and maybe even it's just a little bit of a drop off, but that level of performance, what we saw in the Club World Cup, there is a whole lot to this player that was going underutilized at Brighton.
Yeah, he's got a team now. I mean, not that Brighton is that bad of a team, but come on. Our team is much better. He's supported by...
It only took us buying all of them to actually make it work here.
Yeah. he has better midfielders to work with, and the connection with Dilap also worked as well. I feel like if they develop that, we can get much more goals from both of them or contributions because I can see them assisting each other more. So yeah, that's a big shout, but I feel like we could see that like Moises Caicedo last year. So yeah,
He's a beast, but he is super clever. Like
yeah,
there is a lot of cleverness with the way that he plays, the way he positions his body. He's physical enough to take on the big challenges from a midfielder or a center back, but he's quick and deft enough to get around them if he needs to. The passing is much better than I thought it was going to be, especially at this phase of everything coming together.
yeah,
And his aerial ability is really, really interesting and not something that I think we saw a ton of at Brighton, if my memory serves. I mean, this is a guy who can really get up on a set piece and even on a cross and do something. This 9.5 position, which I think we'll all kind of coin together, this second striker position or in behind, I think is going to be a really interesting way for him to kind of coalesce with the rest of the team this year. And boy, he just looks like a Chelsea player. He just has this kind of badass look about him, and I appreciate that because I think we need that sort of imposing figure who, I look, Dan, he's way more. Yeah, I remember doing the hey, he signed special, and I was a little curious as to why we signed this player given his stats. He's way overperformed so far. It's very
yeah.
impressive.
It'll be interesting to see. We've got the early potential player of the season or signing of the season shout there that we could kind of consider. But yeah, I think another player who absolutely looks ready and looks the part to be here is our guy Estêvão. Wow.
Big
Just, I mean,
Steve?
absolute wow.
Come
Big
on,
Steve.
Big Steve, baby, let's go.
Big Steve, 77 minutes played, had 0.33 expected goals, did 1 assist, 0.61 assist too. So really nice delivery there. 41 touches, 81% pass accuracy, 1 key pass, 1 big chance created, 1 shot on target, 2 out of 3 successful dribbles. And he did send a couple of defenders to the void zone, the nether regions. Like they are like gone in another spectrum of the universe or reality. They don't exist in this plane anymore because he sent them packing. It was absolutely phenomenal to watch, phenomenal to see. Like, I think that we were asking on the preview pod, Nick, we felt like Estêvão was going to have 60 plus minutes, and maybe that's why he didn't start versus Jamie Gittins in the first game of the season. I think if he can keep this up, it's going to be really, really close between who's actually starting out of the Jamie Gittins signing with Pedro Neto playing the way that he's playing, and then with Estêvão playing this way. Like, this could be a situation where like Neto and Estêvão could be your 2 stars. And then it's a matter of João Pedro or Liam Delap with Cole Palmer kind of then becomes your 4-person attack.
Yeah, Big Steve is really impressive, Dan. I look, we did all these Chelsea and South America pods last year with Nath. It feels like yesterday, with Nath and Jess, and we talked about how much time Estêvão would need to adapt to the Premier League and to Chelsea, and how much time it generally takes for someone making that transition to figure out life in London and family and all the things. It's happening quicker than we thought, and I think it's really, really impressive. I just think he plays with a joy that is impossible to fake. Like, he is responsible for giving away the ball that goes for the first goal, right?
Enzo Maresca made sure everyone was reminded of that too.
Everyone did remember that, yes. But it did not deter the joy. Like, it was a very like, all right, we'll just go get 5 now, sort of vibe. And like the way that he celebrated the assist was so great. I think it was Enzo, or it was Cucurella and Pedro Neto that came over and were like, they were hugging each other on the way over to celebrate.
It was Gusto.
Gusto, you're right. Yeah. Big hair either way. And so, yeah, it was just like, I don't know. There's something joyful about it. Nath, I really am shocked that he's I didn't know if he'd play the first little bit of the season at all, let alone this, but wow.
Yeah, I thought he would be a super sub for the start of the season. I think this Palmer injury or whatever it was today kind of spit things up a bit. But yeah, I was impressed at his attitude after giving up that ball and West Ham scoring. He kind of went back, and I feel like that's a little bit of a memory of playing here in Brazil, because the rhythm here, the tempo of the matches are completely different. Probably here in Brazil, he would have given the ball away and he would have recovered it by himself, just because it's a slower game, though more physical or just as physical, given the differences between the collectives, the teams, and all. But yeah, I feel like this adaptation of his will go faster than we expected. And I feel like him being at the national team as well, just jumping in, because on Monday, we're recording on Friday, on Monday, Ancelotti is going to make his second call-up. And I expect Estêvão to be there. He's going to meet more people that have played in the Premier League or they're playing in Europe for years and years. So that's also an environment that's important for him to be at this moment in time, just because he's adapting to a new life and everything. So yeah, I'm super excited to see where he ends up in this first half of the season, because of what we're seeing now, because of the impact he's having, whether coming off the bench as versus Crystal Palace and now starting the game. So yeah, I feel like we have, as Nick was saying, have a bunch of clever players that give us so many possibilities. It's kind of hard to see, when the lineup came out today, I was like, well, where's João Pedro playing? Where's Estêvão playing? There are so many possibilities. And then we saw what we saw, and they were changing positions every time. João Pedro was dropping to the right at times or to the left, and then Estêvão would come a bit more centrally or advance a little more to play like a second striker at times. So those clever players give us more possibilities, even though they're still adapting to a new club or to a new city or to a new country anyways. So I feel like as he progresses, even in speaking, he tried to speak to players a few times today and against Crystal Palace as well. So I feel like as he gets more verbal, as he gets more comfortable speaking to his teammates as well, this is going to take his game to another level, as it did here in Brazil, because there was this communication and all. And just to touch on what Maresca said, I feel like it's a little bit of a difference between what Abel did here in Brazil. He shielded him from criticism as much as he did, and now Maresca kind of throws him to the lions. Not literally. Anyways, I don't even know if it was that bad, the way he said it and all. But I feel like it could have been not said at the end of the day, because it didn't affect the game that much in the end. And Estêvão had a great game. So yeah, I feel like he's going to take that and, okay, cool, I'm going to do better next time.
I think it's a way to actually protect him, weirdly.
Yeah.
Because I think the hype is going to quickly build if it already hasn't. I mean, like, it might already be beyond containment, Dan. Like, we might be in a spot where people are going to be upset if Estêvão doesn't start every game from now on, because he is so electric and so fun. And I think Enzo Maresca is saying, he's great, we love him, but he's clearly not been a part of the system. Yeah. He clearly doesn't always understand his positional responsibilities. He has work to do, and he is also 18 years old or whatever, and there's just going to be a lot of progression and maturity that happens as he is a full-fledged Premier League player. And so I actually think this is like a tempering of expectations that was super smart. And, it also will give Maresca a little bit of cover to work with him on all the different facets of the game, not just the really fun, flashy stuff.
Yeah, and he kind of put it. Yeah, I didn't think like that before, but he kind of put it there. And yeah, okay, he made a mistake. Okay, let's move on. Let's not talk about it. So yeah, that kind of makes sense.
It does feel as if I think you guys called it a couple things that we're going to want to see from Estêvão in I think the coming weeks and months. One being just a understanding the speed of the defenders in the Premier League. In terms of how he takes his time to kind of make his decisions, and then also knowing that every bump could absolutely 100% lead to him being bounced off of the
Yeah,
ball, and kind of just a little, again, maturation in just understanding the gamesmanship in the Premier League that's going to come from time and experience, which is, again, the one of the best teachers in the entire world.
He got caught on a full field sprint by Juf today. And that was, I think that's a moment for him to go like, oh, everyone's fast here, not just my opposition fullback, not just, another winger. Everybody has like full-fledged speed in the Premier League. And I'm going to need to be, all gas, no brakes to get
yeah,
to some of these long balls over the top, because I think he thought he was getting to that thing very easily and he didn't, and he ended up losing possession. So yeah, look, I mean, he's a star. He's going to be fine. We're very excited about him. And I hope that he's just given time to mature and not, being thrown out to the wolves all the time.
yeah.
And again, we had a ton of great performances today, and we've kind of sprinkled some of the positivity around here. But just in case we haven't had a chance to talk about one or two particular players that you really enjoyed their performances, Nath, did you have anybody else you wanted to just show a little love to? I mean, again, in a game where you win 5-1, you can kind of say nice things about pretty much everybody on your team.
Yeah.
But we don't have to cover everybody, but just to make sure that we don't feel like we missed somebody and get a comment about it later. Oh my gosh, I can't believe you guys didn't talk about this player here. We don't want to hurt people's opinions.
Yeah, I'm gonna say Caicedo just because not only because of the goal, but because he was one of the top progressors today with passes. He was key to our build-up. It was one of the options I thought Maresca had when Cowell got injured and all, and it's working. It's the one he probably thinks is best because he's tried for 2 games, and he worked on both games today much better than he did against Crystal Palace. So yeah, and it was much due to the fact that he was able to progress the ball by connecting with João Pedro and Enzo Fernandez, and he also got a goal as well. And he also, the goals he get always are very nice goals. This one was great too. And yeah, I'm gonna say Caicedo.
Nick, anybody else you want to just say a nice thing about before we head to talking about players leaving Chelsea or potentially leaving Chelsea?
Caicedo's 100th appearance for Chelsea. Just no
Yeah,
big deal.
there's that
Don't
as
worry
well.
about it. I would just give Pedro Neto a huge shout. I know that he doesn't prefer to be on the left, but I thought he did a lot of hard grinding today. Obviously gets the goal, which is fantastic, but I think more than that, just showed a work rate when, on the odd chance that Cucurella went forward and Enzo Fernandez was kind of just freelancing and doing whatever the hell he wanted to today to track Enzo's guy going back. I thought he did a bunch of really good work. So I would just shout him out because he had a much improved performance week over week.
Look, we're going to take our last ad break, and when we get back, we will talk a little bit about some of the transfer conversation that's still going on around the club right now. Because again, the window is still open for just over a week's time at time of recording and dropping. So, Chelsea got to get some stuff done, and have gotten some stuff done since last time we talked to our friends Matt and Ben. So stay tuned. We'll be back. I guess the first one we should talk about, and I have a whole list here of everything that Chelsea been up to, is probably I'll just throw it right to the Renato Vega news, considering that's actually a permanent move outside of the club versus some of this stuff is still will it, won't it happen. Renato Vega heading to Villarreal for 29.5 million euros with add-ons, and then also a sell-on fee rumored to be in the 40% range. So, money, Nick. Like we took a player who was not apparently wanting to be at Chelsea Football Club, bought him for a tune, and have now sold him off. And I guess everybody's happy.
We hardly knew ye, I don't really. What's weird about that one is like I think
you don't have anything to say, right?
Yeah.
No, nothing really. He wanted out and he got his wish, and we made money. So everyone's kind of a winner here. He gets to play a lot of football ahead of a World Cup, and we get cold hard cash. So cool.
I think another one that continues to get momentum, probably more so just on the player side, player agent side, heading into the end of the window, is the Nico Jackson conversation, particularly when you have one of your strikers score a goal and then have 2 assists on the day, and one be very crucial in some of the set piece play. We saw plenty of reporting, though, that the Aston Villa are going to start pushing for Nico Jackson, which, as we know, when Nick talked to Matt this week, Matt Law, that would potentially trigger an immediate transfer request for one Morgan Rogers from Aston Villa to head our way, which I don't think we would be terribly disappointed about, nor would someone like Cole Palmer be terribly disappointed about that situation. And then you also have reporting that Bayern and Newcastle United also kind of still hovering around the player. I just want to take it as like a snap reaction on the 22nd of August with, just under about 9 days, 8 days when we kind of drop this left in the transfer window. Will Nico Jackson still be at Chelsea when the transfer window ends? Just a snap, yes or no?
No.
Yes.
Oh, exactly what I was hoping for. Nick, you said no.
No, I said yes.
I said yes. So he will stay because nobody's going to meet our evaluation. Is that your view on it, or?
Yeah, and a lot of the talk here, like I know there's a lot of quote unquote reporting on this. A lot of it's clearly coming from Ali Barat, his agent, which is like standard fare for this time of year.
Anybody can pay for a sponsored post, Nick. It's totally allowed on all the social platforms.
Yeah, I mean, he's doing all the call-in shows. He's it's hilarious. So I guess the thing that I'd be thinking about with Nico, clearly Maresca has mentally moved on. He, like in the press conference the other day, he mentally moved on from him and Nkunku. I think the problem is in this striker market where we haven't had a really great striker market in terms of like valuations for a few years now, actually. This is one of those years where even whatever you think of Nico Jackson, he is at least a 70 million pound player. The reporting has been all over the place. It's been loans. It's been loans with options. It's been 50 million pounds. It's been if you are Win Stewart and the sporting structure and you loan or sell this player for under the valuation in a hot striker market, that is, with all the other good business you've done, that is wild to even think about. Like he hasn't, from what we know, like caused this. He's not pulling an Isak behind the scenes, causing chaos. He's training, in a different, area of Cobham, sure, with the other players who aren't necessarily required. But like, it's not like he's throwing his toys out on the pram either, and like putting out public statements and all this other stuff that makes him toxic. If they don't figure this out in a way that benefits Chelsea, I think you absolutely keep him and reintegrate him. I've said that for a long time, and I just don't see Newcastle doing it unless they sell Isak, which they seem hell-bent on not doing. And I don't see Bayern meeting any sort of valuation. Maybe Villa could, but Villa would have to sell immediately. So I don't even know how much that benefits them. It just feels like a very weird situation. All right, rant over. Sorry.
Well, and then Nath, the opposite side, you say that he will go. Do you feel like you have an idea on which team will end up securing his services? Do you have a guess?
Yeah, I'm just going to start by saying that I think he'll go, but I don't want him to. I like Jackson, and I feel like he could bring a lot more to this dynamics Maresca is trying to build, although it feels like Maresca has moved on from him. But yeah, I feel like he's leaving, but he's still staying in the league. So I'm guessing Newcastle, just because I feel like Liverpool are going to get Isak and they're going to have the money. So that kind of makes sense. I don't know how this is going because the Isak situation is very crazy to understand, to see how and where this is going. I don't think he's staying. So Nico to Newcastle makes sense.
All right. Well, I'm sure we'll have plenty of comments on YouTube.
What about you, Dan? Come on.
Yeah.
Out with it.
I think he will not be a Chelsea player by the end of the window. I
And
also think he stays in the Premier League. And I think if we feel like the Xavi Simmons deal is potentially too lucrative or too expensive, the sell Nico to Aston Villa to get Morgan Rogers seems like a real prime piece of business.
Yeah,
Just if you want to get something done.
I'd rather get Rogers than Simmons, 100%.
yeah,
So
I don't think it
that's
would be I don't think that's a cost effective. I think Rogers is going to cost more and be more expensive on wages, just candidly. But I
yeah,
see your
sure,
point.
sure, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just saying in terms of like you're probably closer to the mark on his
Yeah.
valuation
Yeah.
than I think where Chelsea have kind of said like we have a valuation of like I think like 50 million euros for Simmons, and they're not gonna they're gonna pay more than 50 million for him, so they're gonna be off there. So I guess like within the realm of like how close are you to the price that you've stipulated. Now, speaking of Simmons, just to kind of like again, I'm gonna hit through a couple of these just rapid fire so people are aware as listeners, and we then you guys can talk about whatever one you want. Simmons, I mean, Leipzig posted the photo of him like waving goodbye after the match, like on their social medias. Like, I guess, is this sending a sign? Is it sending a signal? Who knows? You have Garnacho being someone who now Emirates talk about the fact that it's not a good thing he's a part of the bomb squad and that he can still leave, but they'll find a way to reintegrate him if they can't, which is a terrible negotiating situation if you're trying to get maximum profit for a player. And then we still know that the Christopher Nkunku deal, does he go to Bayern Munich? Does he have a role someplace else out there? We're not sure where that one is landing. And then Borussia Dortmund are going to get, looks like Carney Chukwuemeka, and then also take Aaron Anselmino on loan. Like, so that's the kind of stuff that's been going on since the last time we dropped a transfer pod. Any one that you want to just make a last reference on, Nick?
This Carney Chukwuemeka thing
Yeah.
is one of the very dumbest sagas that we've experienced in some time. Like, the club has briefed for the better part of a year that his valuation is 40 million pounds. To sell him for less than half, which is 20 million euros of that valuation, and give that same club the loan of Aaron Anselmino. It could be a great loan, but like, how do you consistently get played by this club with no money? I don't understand. It is insanity to me. Like,
Yeah.
if the price is 40 million pounds and you sell him for less than half of that cost, then either the price wasn't 40 million pounds and you were just hoping another club out there was super dumb and they were going to fall for your trap, or no one's going to trust your valuations again. Like, and that's just what it is. Like, and I think this is a little different than the Nico thing, where there's like a very established market for strikers, and like where that number is. There's not a very established market for Carney Chukwuemekas out there. Like, it could be 20 million euros, it could be 40 million euros, it could be 40 million pounds. Who knows? But we're going to sell him for less than we paid for him, and his cost would have been amortized a little bit, sure, but that doesn't. Getting his wages off, I guess. There are a lot of people justifying this. I just think it's absolutely insane, and doing business with Dortmund almost never gets us what we want. So, I'm glad for him personally to go develop and to play at a club that he wants to play for. I hate the business.
Yeah.
Nath, anyone you want to talk about as well too?
Not really, just because, I don't know. These sagas are killing me. I don't even know what to say anymore, honestly.
It's a weird window.
Yeah.
It's among the weirdest windows. You have these drawn out, everyone's agent is talking to the big journalists. We've had the same stories for months.
Yeah.
And they haven't moved at all. And it's like everyone's just waiting, like I would typically do as a procrastinator, to get to the final moment to like pull off the stunning thing. But it's like, you really don't have to. Like, you had an extended summer too, with those extra days in June to get a lot of business done. And a lot of teams are just like, well, surely the timer will make everything go. And it's like, I don't know. If you're 20 million off of a valuation, like we are for Xavi Simmons, or like, Dortmund was with us for Carney Chukwuemeka, that's a pretty big gulf that you have to figure out how to solve for.
And there's still plenty left to do. I mean, we're not even talking about Ben Chilwell. We're not even talking about Raheem Sterling. There's a lot that Chelsea have to do between now and the end of the window. And boy, oh boy, this is where sporting directors' legacies are made in the last week to 10 days of a transfer window, and seeing if you can put the club in the best possible situation to go out and achieve. But look, we end the Friday and we head into the Saturday of Premier League fixtures atop of the table, which is a very, very exciting place for Chelsea to be. I don't care if it lasts for a couple hours. I don't care if it lasts for a couple minutes. Seeing Chelsea at the top of the Premier League table is one of the best possible things in the whole goddamn world. So we're going to take that one and ride it into the end of this episode. We've got tons more content.
November of 2021, Dan.
I know. It's been a minute.
Come on.
Been a big whole minute there. We have plenty of content, though, coming out this next week for you, though. We got another Matt Law update, just kind of looking at the windows. It's closing down here. We do have the Champions League draw. The champions coming back, and we're going to be reacting to that.
New stinger on the way, baby. Let's go. Come on.
We'll see. We have a full match preview as well, too, before we get that match review and then head into the international break and the return of the Chelsea women's team. So plenty of fun content coming your way. Don't forget to like and subscribe on YouTube. Also comment on the videos. Let us know what you're thinking about heading into a weekend where Chelsea start it at the top of the table. Don't forget to subscribe to our free weekly newsletter, the London Blue Dispatch. And hey, leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. It's always appreciated, particularly at the start of a Premier League season when people are trying to find the show and find wonderful Chelsea content out there. And don't forget to join our Discord community in either a free or paid capacity. But that's going to do it for this one. So until next time, Chelsea fans, you know what to do. Keep the blue flag flying high.